Hi, my name's Luc Jones. I'm a partner with ANTAL Russia. We're a British executive recruitment company focusing on mostly international companies working here in Russia. The company's been here for 19 years already. We employ 120 staff here. We also have a branch office in Kazakhstan and hopefully Ukraine later this year. So we're very positive about the region in general. The pluses and minuses of working in Russia. Obviously, my first piece of advice is if you're worried about doing business in Russia, don't read the Western press. Unfortunately, you will very rarely read a positive story about Russia in the international papers. You might hear something about a Russian company doing an IPO in London, but other than that, it's usually something negative about oligarchs or about Mr. Putin. Obviously, on the plus side, the fact that everybody is so negative about the market means that there's much more competition for the companies that do come here and want to do business. Russia is very open for business. I think the country could PR itself a lot better. Unfortunately, compared to, say, India or China, the image of Russia is this big, horrible, closed country. And the country doesn't necessarily make a big effort to bring in investors. But, as I said, those who do come here generally find that doing business here is not any more difficult than anywhere else. And one of the biggest advantages here is the huge lack of competition, partly because the negative image scares people off. So come to Russia, go to a bar where foreigners hang out and have a chat with people about what's really happening here. And you'll actually get a much better picture than simply reading some macroeconomic statistics in a magazine. On the whole, probably largely thanks to high commodity prices, the market is booming at the moment, and we don't expect that to change in the nearest future. Let's say the negative sentiment around the world is not felt here at all. How sustainable that is in the long run is obviously questionable. I would say that unfortunately too many countries who rely on natural resources and don't diversify struggle eventually, because one day or another the natural resources run out. Excuse me. But generally here that there are a lot of companies, Russian companies, who want to buy foreign products. Russians like quality products and they're ready to spend money on quality products. And this results in business opportunities for the companies who come into Russia. So obviously there are pluses and minuses here everywhere, but as an investor here, Antal's been here a long time, we continue to expand. We are a very good barometer, a good measuring tool for what's happening here in Russia. And obviously we're seeing more and more companies coming in. This might be what people call the decoupling effect, which is when traditional markets are maybe not abandoned, but are flat. So companies need to look elsewhere. Where are we going to make some money? Okay, time to start concentrating on some newer areas. Russia being one of the key BRIC countries obviously falls into that category. So, summing up, I would say don't come to Russia trying to make a fast buck. Do take it seriously. Business in Russia is done face to face. Russians do business with people they like and with people they trust, rather than looking at a flashy presentation or a pure brand. We've recently seen a number of trends in terms of hiring in Russia. Nearly everybody is hiring. There's a real war for talent at the moment. The market is growing more quickly than people themselves are developing, which obviously results in a bubble. Again, the statistics for unemployment are somewhat misleading in Russia, because in Moscow unemployment is almost zero. You'll just see in Russia that a lot of people are unaware that Russia actually has the second highest number of immigrants in the world after the United States. So now is a great time to be looking for a new job. if you're a good candidate. And it's actually a great time to be looking for a job, even if you're an average candidate. This makes life difficult for employers because generally Russian candidates expect a minimum of a 20% salary increase when they change their job. There are tens of thousands of foreign companies here in Russia. Some are new entrants with one or two people. Some of them have been here 20 years and continue to grow and add. But I would say the majority talk about success in Russia and continue to invest here. It's often a hard sell to their European headquarters, but usually figures speak for themselves. The turnover here rises and companies keep hiring. As you may or may not be aware, Russia has finally joined the WTO, the World Trade Organization. It took something like 18 years from submitting its original application to becoming accepted, which obviously is good news for Russia and the international community. Now, what does that mean for investors? Well, on the whole, I don't think a great deal is going to change overnight. It certainly hasn't in the year since Russia was actually accepted into it, and big parties might have been held to celebrate that fact, but like with most things, little happens overnight. I think for a lot of foreign investors, the actual fact that Russia's been accepted in itself means that whereas they previously wouldn't even consider coming into Russia, now at least that door has opened and they might start taking a more serious look at it, because otherwise it would have raised the question, well, why not? Do we want to be in the same category as Syria, Iran, North Korea, who are not in it and are highly unlikely to be accepted anytime soon? But with Russia being in it, it joins the club of so-called normal countries who want to do things, let's say, according to international standards. Now, obviously, a lot of Russians are lamenting this, saying that it's going to render Russian companies less competitive because obviously big foreign companies who can work to economies of scale and are more competitive will simply have a huge advantage over them. Now, yes, that probably is the case to begin with, but eventually it will be good for Russia. Russia needs to react. Getting rid of 70 years of communist rule, changing from a planned economy to a capitalist-driven one is not easy, and it never happens overnight, but it's got to happen eventually, and we believe in the long run it will.